All right, let's get right into it. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're unpacking a truly fascinating case study in the paradox of modern success. Today, we're diving into the core insights from a viral, brutally honest conversation between business titan Alex Hormozi and legendary life strategist Tony Robbins. We're looking at a breakdown called The Alchemist's Dilemma, Trading Suffering for Significance. If you've ever felt like you're doing absolutely everything right but still feel kinda empty, well, this explainer is going to completely change how you view your own goals.
Now, beneath all the business strategy and surface-level talk of duty and impact, Alex was really posing this incredibly provocative question to Tony, and honestly, to all of us. Why doesn't winning feel alive anymore? I want you to ask yourself that. Have you ever hit a huge milestone, won the exact game you set out to play, and realized you felt absolutely nothing? That is the core problem we are unpacking today.
Think about it. Alex won the game he was trained to play. He creates massive value in the marketplace, he works practically every waking hour, and gives away incredible content for free. He genuinely helps people. Yet, despite doing everything right in the world of achievement, he admits he suffers from a deep apathy issue. He just feels numb. And this is the perfect hook for us, right? Because it completely shatters that ultimate illusion, the idea that extreme success automatically equals extreme happiness.
So let's break this down. Section 1. The apathy of winning.
Before we get into Tony's diagnosis, I want to invite you to take a hard look at your own life right now. Where might you be settling? Where are you just going through the motions, accepting apathy as the normal cost of doing business? You see, usefulness without joy can easily become another prison. Alex had developed this noble but ultimately incomplete philosophy. When true happiness felt unreachable, he decided to just replace it with being useful. And hey, a useful life is way better than a selfish one, right? But Tony powerfully challenges this. He points out that Alex has basically accepted a much lower emotional standard for his personal life than he would ever accept in his business. In business, Alex would never settle for mediocre execution. But in life, he settled for a prison of mere usefulness.
Which brings us to Tony's primary clinical diagnosis. Section 2. Push versus pull motivation. As we go through these next few concepts, I really want you to evaluate what truly drives your own daily actions. What's the actual fuel in your engine? On one hand, we have push motivation. This is when you're driven by pressure, anger, duty, the need to prove yourself, or just straight-up fear. On the other hand, we have pull motivation, where you were naturally drawn forward by a magnetic mission. Now, Tony doesn't knock push motivation. It can work. It absolutely helped Alex build immense discipline and wealth. But here's the massive warning label. Push motivation will build the machine, but it will inevitably trap you inside that very machine.
I'm going to pause here just to let the weight of this profound quote sink in. The same fuel that helped you escape weakness may not be the fuel that helps you live with joy. Man, think about how powerful that is. The anger, the hyper-discipline, the intense fear of failure that worked so well for Alex to escape his early struggles, those are now the exact same things poisoning his enjoyment of life today. You literally have to be willing to change your fuel source as you grow.
And that leads us perfectly into Section 3. Achievement does not equal fulfillment. We're making a pivot here to look at why hitting massive targets, like a crazy financial goal or a massive subscriber count, often leaves everyday people feeling unexpectedly hollow inside. Achievement is all about execution, right? Building systems, scaling companies, reaching concrete goals. Alex is a master at this. But fulfillment? That's a completely different skill. Fulfillment requires meaning, joy, and deep human connection. You can be an absolute genius at achievement while being a total beginner at fulfillment, because fulfillment requires meeting emotional needs you might not even fully understand yet. And here is the ultimate aha moment of this entire explainer. Success can solve your money problem, but it may reveal your meaning problem. That is exactly what happened to Alex. Money, status, and business success meet a lot of needs, for sure, but they do not automatically create a meaningful life. Ask yourself right now, are you currently masking a deep lack of meaning with the endless, exhausting pursuit of money? So, how do we begin to fix this? Let's look at Section 4. Language creates emotional identity. This is honestly one of the most practical takeaways from the source material. The specific words we used every single day are secretly programming our emotional reality. We've got to differentiate pain from suffering. Tony points out that pain is unavoidable. Things are going to go wrong. But suffering is when pain becomes your identity because you literally build your life story around it. Tony noticed Alex's language wasn't neutral. Alex kept talking about finding a goal worth suffering for. Without even realizing it, Alex was accidentally programming himself to suffer. He made suffering a strict prerequisite for success. So the crucial point here is this massive linguistic and psychological shift. Just feel the difference in energy between these two phrases. We move from the heavy, burdensome, I must suffer for something meaningful, all the way to the energizing, expansive, I get to build something meaningful that makes me feel alive. I strongly encourage you to look at your own internal monologues today. Reframing your words from a place of heavy obligation to an energizing opportunity can literally change everything.
Before we jump to the final solution, let's take a fascinating meta look at the interview's hidden 5-stage structure. Tony masterfully guided Alex through this. Stage 1, respect, where Alex honors Tony's impact. Stage 2, confession, where Alex bravely admits his apathy. Stage 3, diagnosis, where Tony identifies that push motivation and language issue. Stage 4, reframe, where they shift from suffering to opportunity. And finally, Stage 5, mission, where Alex finds his new moonshot. This deliberate structure is exactly what makes the conversation feel so deeply personal, and not just promotional.
Which brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. Section 5, finding your moonshot mission.
Look, Tony wasn't going to tell a guy like Alex to just retire or stop being ambitious. No way, that would never work for him. Instead, he gave him a much better form of ambition by adopting a contribution moonshot to serve as a life-giving bridge between business success and true fulfillment. Constructing this mission takes 3 critical steps. Step 1, it must tie into your personal story. Step 2, it must utilize your unique business skill. And Step 3, it has to address a real emotional need in others. Tony explained how his own massive mission to provide billions of meals worked because it checked these exact boxes. And then he used these 3 steps to pull the perfect mission right out of Alex.
Let's anchor these abstract psychological concepts to a concrete target, $100,000. Near the end of their talk, Alex landed on a crystal-clear new mission: to help 100,000 young men get $100,000 in the bank. This is a beautiful moonshot. It perfectly utilizes his business skills, it addresses a deep emotional need for financial security in young men, and it intimately connects right back to his own personal memory of finally feeling safe when he and his wife Layla first hit that exact same milestone. So, to summarize the core takeaway from this explainer, find a mission that is useful, personal, emotionally alive, and bigger than your own comfort. Now, most of us aren't at Alex's level of wealth, right? Your scale might not be 1 billion meals or 100,000 people. But the core principle of finding an emotionally alive mission, that applies perfectly to your life right now, no matter where you're starting from. It's the real game of life.
I want to conclude with this incredibly powerful, lingering question. Who are you becoming as you achieve? So many people think, when I reach the next level, I'll finally enjoy life. But as we've seen today, if you carry a stressed, pressured, apathetic nervous system to the next level, it's not going to bring you peace. You'll simply carry the exact same emotional pattern into a bigger life. I really hope this explainer leaves you completely hooked and deeply reflecting on your own journey. Stop trading suffering for significance and start finding what actually makes you feel alive.